Picture this. You're in like ancient history. Let's say a rural village centuries ago.
Okay, setting the scene. I like it.
Right, and you spot someone across the way and you are immediately just intensely attracted to them.
The classic scenario.
But you don't walk over and introduce yourself. You don't write them a poem.
Obviously not.
Instead, you take an apple.
An apple.
An apple. You tuck it right under your armpit.
Oh, no.
Yes. You go for a grueling, exhaustive run in the heat, and then dripping with perspiration, you walk up and you hand that person your sweat-soaked piece of fruit.
It is a bold opening move. I mean, biologically speaking, you can sort of see the chaotic logic behind it.
Wait, can you?
Well, yeah. You're distributing pheromones in the most concentrated, literal way possible, but culturally, it is a staggering amount of misplaced effort.
It is entirely unhinged. And yet, this is exactly how humanity used to operate. So, welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Whether you are, actively trying to decode the slang your kids are using at the dinner table, or you're just fascinated by how human communication mutates over time, our mission today is to shortcut your way to understanding the modern language of attraction.
Which is a lot more complex than it sounds.
Oh, absolutely. We are looking at this fascinating article titled, "What Does Rizz Mean?" And it breaks down the history, the etymology, and just how this term completely took over the cultural consciousness.
Okay, let's unpack this because we actually have to start with that sweaty apple.
Right, because you really cannot understand a new word for flirtation without understanding the psychological desperation of flirtation itself.
Desperation is definitely the word.
Yeah, humanity has always poured just a massive amount of energy into courtship rituals. The history books are full of them. I mean, aside from the apples, the text points out there was the tradition of carefully carving these elaborate wooden spoons to present to a crush. Which is such a wild contrast to today. Like, you look at the transition from spending weeks whittling a piece of wood or, risking bacterial infection with armpit fruit,
right,
to our modern reality of just swiping a finger on a screen or curating a dating app profile.
It's a huge shift in the medium.
Yeah. But when you really think about that sweat-soaked apple, the underlying emotional mechanism hasn't changed at all.
No, not at all.
If you translate that ancient gesture to the digital age, it is the exact equivalent of sliding into someone's direct messages with a deeply awkward, completely unsolicited, and aggressively weird selfie.
Oh, 100%. It is the exact same impulse. It's just this clumsy attempt to force a connection. Like, the medium shifts from agriculture to algorithms, but the eternal awkwardness, that remains entirely intact.
We are all just out here handing out our digital sweat-soaked apples, desperately hoping someone takes a bite.
Pretty much.
But amidst all of these ridiculous tactics throughout history, there is this through line that the text mentions. Some people could hand over a carved spoon and look like a romantic hero.
Right.
While someone else doing the exact same thing just looked like a carpenter with boundary issues.
Yeah.
So what separates those two people?
Well, the defining factor, the universal asset that survived every era's bizarre beauty standards and courtship rules, is a certain kind of overall magnetism.
Magnetism.
Yeah, it's an invisible pull. And for you listening right now, take a moment and think about the people in your own life who have this unnameable quality.
We all know someone like that.
Exactly. It's rarely about perfect physical symmetry or, financial status. It is an aura. It's a presence that alters the gravity of the room when they walk in.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Because in modern times, that specific invisible romantic pull has been boiled down to a single four-letter slang term, which is Rizz.
Right.
But words don't just spontaneously generate in a vacuum. They have DNA. And the etymology of this word is what completely blew my mind today.
It's a wild linguistic mutation. The text explains that Rizz is widely documented as a direct descendant, like a clipped, narrowed-down version of the word charisma.
I have to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Because that feels like an impossibly massive leap.
It does sound crazy at first.
Right. We're talking about charisma. This heavy, multi-syllable, historically weighty word somehow shrinking down into something teenagers yell across a food court.
Yeah, but to understand how it shrank, you have to look at how big it used to be. Charisma is rooted in ancient Greek.
Okay.
And its original context wasn't remotely romantic or even social in the way we think of it today. It translated roughly to a gift of grace or favor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it carried divine theological undertones. It was literally something bestowed upon you by the gods.
Wait. So it starts as ancient theology. How on earth does a divine Greek gift of grace end up as dating slang?
Well, it takes a very specific detour through the Industrial Revolution and European sociology.
Sociology?
Yeah. In 1910, the German sociologist Max Weber adopted the term charisma for a very specific academic purpose.
What was he studying?
He was looking at an increasingly rigid bureaucratic world, and he needed a word to describe a rare, disruptive style of political leadership.
Okay.
So he used charisma to define leaders who possessed a magnetism so powerful, it actually inspired citizens to challenge established authorities and topple massive societal systems.
We're talking about literal revolutionaries.
Exactly.
People who can start movements and break down governments just by speaking to a crowd.
Precisely. Weber isolated the idea of mass influence, and from there, the word morphed again. By the 1960s, as television became the dominant medium, the concept of charisma was suddenly being applied to celebrity politicians. Think of the televised presidential debates of that era.
Right. The focus shifted entirely to the visual. Like, it stopped being about whether you could overthrow a bureaucracy and started being about how your suit fit under studio lights or how naturally charming you appeared on camera. It became an aesthetic.
It became a digestible, televised charm. But notice the trajectory here. We start with divine grace. We move to revolutionary political influence. We narrow it down to televised charm.
I mean, I see the historical steps there.
Yeah.
But I'm still not buying the final leap.
No.
No. I understand getting from ancient Greece to a 1960s politician on TV, but how does that lofty concept filter all the way down to Gen Z, using it exclusively to describe trying to get a date?
Well, it is a textbook example of semantic narrowing. Human beings, and especially younger generations, have a brilliant habit of democratizing language.
What do you mean by that?
They take grand, sweeping, macro-societal concepts and shrink them down to fit their immediate micro-personal realities.
Oh, I get it. It's like audio sampling in music.
How so?
Well, you take a sprawling 5-minute classical orchestral track, right? You chop out the catchiest 3-second bass line, you speed it up, and you loop it into a modern hip-hop beat.
That's a perfect analogy.
They took charisma, chopped off the heavy historical fat, grabbed just the Rizz sound in the middle, and remixed it into Rizz.
That is exactly what happened, and you can see the result of that remixing if you look at how dictionaries handle the terms today.
Did they update the dictionaries?
Oh yeah. The Cambridge Dictionary defines the root word, charisma, very broadly. A special quality that makes someone able to influence other people and attract admiration.
Which still applies to a CEO or a pop star.
Right. But the Oxford English Dictionary classifies Rizz with surgical precision.
Wait, so they draw a hard line between the two words?
They do. Oxford defines Rizz specifically as style, charm, or attractiveness applied to the ability to attract a romantic or sexual partner.
Wow.
Yeah, the slang completely abandons the political influence. It abandons the societal leadership. It isolates only the romantic and sexual pursuit.
But again, semantic narrowing doesn't just happen by magic. Like, a generation doesn't hold a town hall meeting and vote to shorten a word.
Obviously not.
Somebody has to actually invent the new slang, use it, and push it out into the cultural pressure cooker. Patient zero, basically.
Yes, and there is a defined origin point for this one. The creation of Rizz is universally credited to the internet streamer Kai Cenat.
And if you aren't familiar with the streaming ecosystem, you should know Kai Cenat isn't just like a guy with a webcam. He is an absolute titan of modern digital culture. Millions of people watch him live.
He has a massive reach.
Right. And the documentation of how he built this word is fascinating. He was interviewed on a show called 360 with Speedy Mormon, and he explained that he just used it casually with his friend group. He said, me and my friends used to always say it, and I definitely popularized it on my stream.
Because he had a massive captive audience. When you broadcast a catchy phonetic sound to millions of hyper-engaged young people every single day, the transmission rate is staggering.
Yeah, he noted that it just started going crazy internationally until it embedded itself in the everyday global vocabulary.
But here's where we get to the absolute core of today's deep dive. Cenat didn't just invent the sound of the word, he defined its mechanics.
This is my favorite part.
Back in 2022, on a podcast called No Jumper, he gave the exact operational definition of what Rizz originally meant to him and his friends. And it completely shatters how most people think about charm.
It really does. This is a crucial pivot point in the linguistics. So he laid out a very specific scenario. Cenat said, quote, Rizz is when you're talking to a girl, and at first, shit is not going your way. It's looking bad for you until you spit game and you're rizzing them up to where shit starts to go your way.
I love how specific that is.
Right. He goes on, you're so slick with your words to where the girl's like, okay, yeah, who is this? After shit goes your way, you're like, yeah, I rizzed her up.
I really want to break down the psychology of that scenario because it is brilliant.
It's essentially a massive sports comeback.
Yes.
According to the guy who invented the word, having Rizz has absolutely nothing to do with walking into a room and being effortlessly attractive.
Not at all.
It is not love at first sight. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You are down by 20 points in the first half. The situation is a disaster. But instead of giving up, you dig deep, you execute the perfect conversational game plan, you get slick with your words, and you literally talk your way into a victory.
What's fascinating here is the distinction between the root word and the slang. It's incredibly stark. Look at the traditional definition of charisma. It is passive. It's a noun. It is a divine gift you simply possess, per the Cambridge Dictionary. You either have it radiating off of you or you don't.
Right. Nobody does charisma at someone. You just exist in the room.
Exactly. But Sanat's definition of Rizz, it is intensely active. It is transactional. It's a verb. You are rizzing someone up.
You're deploying a skill.
Yes, it is a tactical skill deployed in real time to salvage a failing interaction. And think about the pressure of the Twitch streaming environment Sanat operates in.
Oh, yeah. You're live for, 8 hours?
Right. You cannot rely on passive, quiet magnetism. You have to constantly be fast, witty, and agile with your words to keep an audience engaged. He took that survival skill of extreme conversational agility and applied it to dating.
It is the locker room halftime speech of flirtation. It requires labor.
It does.
But what fascinates me is that this hyper-specific, highly tactical Twitch definition didn't stay quarantined to the internet. It exploded outward so violently into mainstream culture that the establishment had to formally recognize it.
Oh, they definitely did. In 2023, Oxford University Press literally named Rizz their word of the year.
Let that sink in for a second. You have the most prestigious linguistic institution on the planet recognizing a 4-letter slang word invented by a guy streaming video games from his room to describe talking your way out of a bad date.
It is the ultimate proof of how fast digital culture can rewrite the dictionary. But the moment a word hits that level of mainstream saturation, it undergoes a second mutation.
What do you mean?
The tactical sports comeback definition Sinnott created couldn't survive the mainstream spotlight. It evolved.
And I think nothing illustrates the death of that original definition better than what happened with the actor Tom Holland and his partner Zendaya.
Oh, this is the perfect example.
Yeah. So in 2023, right as Rizz is peaking and everyone is using it, Tom Holland is asked in an interview about the secret behind his Rizz. And he rejects the premise entirely. He famously replies that he has, quote, no Rizz whatsoever.
He just refuses to play the game.
He refuses. He says he has no game. But then Zendaya does a piece for BuzzFeed, and she pushes back on his self-assessment.
Right, she has a different take.
She explains why she thinks he is so magnetic. She points out that she is naturally shy and quiet, and it takes a lot to pull her out of her shell. But she says Tom is just great at talking to people and getting to know people.
Which is a beautiful counterpoint, but it raises a massive contradiction.
So what does this all mean? I have to ask you, does Tom Holland actually have Rizz if he explicitly claims he doesn't do this slick verbal comeback thing? Or is Zendaya describing an entirely different phenomenon?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you are watching the life cycle of a concept complete itself.
Okay.
When Kai Cenat popularized it, Gen Z needed a word that gave them agency. Spitting game and rizzing someone up feels like something you can control. It's a tactic.
Or it's a strategy.
But as soon as society at large started overusing the word, the idea of tactical, slick flirtation started to feel manipulative. It felt like trying too hard.
People realized they didn't want to be rizzed up like a math problem being solved.
Exactly. We crave authenticity. So when Zendaya praises Tom Holland for simply being genuine, attentive, and taking the time to actually get to know people, she isn't using Sanat's definition.
He's redefining it.
Yes, she is redefining the slang for the mainstream. The article concludes that Tom Holland's absolute humility, his refusal to act slick or deploy a verbal comeback, actually becomes the ultimate form of magnetism.
It's the anti-Rizz. By actively rejecting the tactical game plan, he achieves the exact invisible pull that the word was originally invented to describe.
And linguistically, it brings us full circle. By shifting the definition from a slick conversational tactic to simply authentic, humble connection, the mainstream use of the word has inadvertently circled all the way back to its ancient Greek roots.
Oh, wow. The gift of grace.
Yes, a genuine, unforced grace. It turns out that listening to someone and being comfortably yourself is a much more powerful evolutionary strategy than handing them a sweaty apple or deploying a rehearsed verbal comeback.
That makes so much sense. So to bring this all together for you listening right now, the next time you walk through a mall or hear your teenage nephew or watch a streamer drop the word Rizz, you'll know you aren't just hearing disposable internet gibberish.
Definitely not.
You're listening to a phenomenally complex cultural remix. You are hearing the DNA of ancient Greek theology passed through the revolutionary sociology of 1910s Europe, chopped up and sped up by modern Twitch streamers, and finally leveled out by Hollywood actors craving genuine connection. All of that packed into 4 little letters.
It is a brilliant reminder that while our vocabulary constantly mutates, the core human desire to be seen and desired remains entirely fixed. But before we wrap up today's analysis, there is one final detail from our exploration that I want you to carry with you.
Let's hear it.
We started this journey looking at ancient history. For centuries, human courtship relied heavily on physical, tangible objects to manifest intent.
Right.
You handed someone a carved wooden spoon, you handed them a piece of fruit, you used a physical object to bridge the terrifying gap between two people and say, I am drawn to you.
A terrifying physical anchor.
Exactly. But look at where we are now. Kaizenat's Rizz requires no objects. It exists entirely in the abstract ether of the spoken word and digital spaces.
Wow.
The mechanism of attraction has become invisible. So I want you to ponder this as you go about your day. As our dating lives become increasingly digital and our connections become further removed from the physical world, where does courtship go next?
That's a great question.
Will we eventually abandon words altogether for something even more abstract? 50 years from now, what will the sweat-soaked apple of the year 2050 look like?
Now that is a thought that is going to stick with me. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep listening, keep questioning the words around you, and we will catch you on the next one.